we'll ask everybody, I'll call 3 at a time. Please come forward and use the 3 microphones at the table. Please be aware we have several people who are scheduled to speak, so please adhere to the time limits, the 3 minutes that you have. And if you don't need your 3 minutes, please yield that to somebody else so that we can get everybody in. Carl Mohammed, Sherry Hillman, Lou Bear.
See Lou, if you want to add another one.
Mr. Mohammed.
Good evening, team players. As we get ready to close out this particular year, 2017, we know that there's a body of knowledge that has been omitted from the educational process for African American children, really for all children, but there haven't been a real concerted effort that I can see inside of the system that has addressed that need. And I know once upon a time we used to have a superintendent report at the end of the year. The superintendent, I think it was Dr. Cole, gave us an example of how possibly we might be able to transfer information to the community, because I do believe that it is truly needed, the idea of really sharing what it is that you're actually doing, moving African American children forward with the knowledge that you have about the deficiency that they have inside of their educational process. You know, when I look at what you say effective and relevant instructions to meet the needs of all students. You say positive school climate, positive and supportive school climate. You say talent development and high performance culture. And we know that there's a piece that is missing, that we changed from the African American to now it's called the engagement or some kind of other name, when I think that the name that we had initially gave us a very clear direction in which to move ourselves forward. And I'm hoping that, you know, since it was dismantled, Dr. Ovos, I'm hoping that we might be able to get some kind of clear understanding of the direction that we're going. I attended the last meeting that they had for the African American children, and we still didn't have any, from my perspective, we still didn't have any clear direction that we're going. I'm hoping that when we select a new superintendent, all of you that know that you have been blocked out of that opportunity to help these children, I'm hoping that you would insert yourself a lot more than what you did in the past. And I'm talking to Ms. McQuinn, I'm talking to you, Ms. Whitfield, Ms. Brill, and to the rest of you, because I have discovered that we do have some blockage inside of that dynamic, and I was surprised to find out where it come from. But I'm hoping that we can build better capacity in really trying to help African American children comply to the Florida Statute 1003.42, because I see all across the state of Florida, everyone now is kind of dropping that mantle, and you're taking our voice out of the choir that you're saying that you're assembling, and we need a voice inside of this system. And I know it's kind of difficult because when we first started on this journey with Dr. Cole, we understood that it was the most difficult quest that any human being could take, and that was to assist the African American children to move forward. And we said that if we did, we would go down in history as some of the greatest people that ever lived. And I don't think that we've reached that kind of quality of thinking in recent time, and I'm hoping that we would refresh our memory by getting the real actual data that goes along with that kind of thinking, as opposed to these new organizations and new things that are popping up that appears to have that kind of energy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Hillman.
Good evening, esteemed board and Superintendent Avoza. I'm here tonight to bring attention to why our kids are depressed and shooting up schools. I was actually put on this agenda to speak before the shooting. And I believe that there's a direct correlation between the No Child Left Behind standardized testing, which was abandoned but not really, and replaced by FSA, NGSSS, SSA, EOC, and 230 hours in an entire life of a school. The children take that many tests, that many hours, up to 30 hours a year, up to 3 hours in a row, and we're just medicating them with ADD medication. As a parent of this district for the last 18 years, I had the displeasure of having my kids be a part of this testing experiment, which has proven only that you've narrowed the curriculum, focusing primarily on math and science, test a child with extreme hourly annual assessments, Like I said, for the course of an entire school, 12 years, it's 230 hours. During the, and 3 hours at a time, up to 30 hours a year. These kids are throwing up before school, cutting themselves, suicidal, and ultimately, in the worst case, shooting up the schools. 6.3 million teens are depressed. I know they've said yesterday that they're going to be giving us mental health, but we have guidance counselors in the school. We have teachers, and if they could just do their jobs, then we would be okay. But all this testing is taking 30% away from our guidance counselors, our heroes that were just standing up here. They are the heroes. My sister went to Spanish River High 35 years ago. At the time, they installed 35 years ago metal detectors. And 2 dogs roamed the school, two drug dogs roamed the school at all times. This was like a presence of that we were taking care of things. These kids from the Douglas School got on a bus yesterday and they went to Tallahassee, and they had insult to injury because they really thought they were going to be able to make a difference. We can't wait around. We cannot rely, and we cannot depend on the legislation to do anything here at all. So what I propose is that you just stop all testing, 1 test a year. Let the teachers teach. They have half the time to do their job now from all this testing. So please, let the teachers teach. Let the guidance counselors guide. You've taken away their title of guidance. Their job as a guidance counselor is to guide academically, emotionally, and socially. You've removed social and emotional. So they just guide academically. And these tests actually don't even get tested in such a time frame where they get the results in time to be able to place them properly for the next semester. They test in April, they don't get the results till June. So the only thing that's happening here is funding. Funding, 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 and that's all it's about. I'd like you to care about our children.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Dowling, Sarah Charisma, Karen Holm.
Good evening, board members. I'm Mike Dowling. I'm a 26-year veteran teacher in Palm Beach County, and I'm here tonight to say thank you. I'm thrilled to report that next year's parent portal will be field tested before it goes live. Now, I'm told there's going to be 9 schools in the beta. I teach at one of the 9, so I can tell you from experience it's going to work. There's going to be a lot of errors, but that's okay because it's a beta. Parent will have the option of using Edline if they're frustrated with any problems, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. I'm happy that the district learned from the rollout of SIS this year. We're no longer building the plane while flying it. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Charisma, and I'm here to exercise the freedom of speech in order to defend the dignity of our profession and the education of our children. I have been speaking in front of the school board for almost 10 years, in front of 4 different superintendents, but I feel from the bottom of my heart today's speech is the most sensitive speech of all because it affects not only students but experienced teachers like me in the late 50s and mid-60s. For the past 5 years, I've been asking the administration why they never send me to any professional development in and out of the district and perhaps out of the state as they send other teachers. Why is it that I don't teach any honor classes, MYP, IB classes, or any accelerated courses? Why is it that I only teach ESE inclusion, regular ESOL classes? I never got a response by the assistant principal. Recently, I found out not only that at my school, but at other schools, teachers in the late 50s and 60s are teaching large ESE inclusion classes, including the lowest 25% of the students. In many cases, in a very difficult teaching and learning environment, while young, middle-aged, with certain characteristic teachers with no experience or less experience in the classroom that we have, with temporary certificate, get the training and teach the honor students and classes, accelerated courses and academies where the best students are enrolled. Not only that, but with the district broken evaluation system and discriminatory master board, it classifies and affects teachers' professional development, evaluation, and pay, because those favored teachers not only get the best and the brightest students, but the highly effective salaries, highly effective bonus, the IB bonus, the AP bonus, the ACE bonus, and any other academic bonus. From the student's point of view, it is discriminatory not to give those Level 1 and Level 2 students, ESC students, ESOL students, African American students, and Hispanic students the opportunity to be taught by those super highly effective teachers, those super well-trained teachers, so the students can have the same learning and teaching environment, field trips, laboratories, and share the same experience limited right now only to those who have the privilege to be enrolled in a program, the honored students and those picked and chosen by the administration. Member of the school board, I'm asking you with all my respect, we need to stop this type of favoritism and discrimination against teachers and students, so all students will have the same opportunity to be college readiness, not just being used to increase the graduation rate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Karen Holm.
Hi, I'm Karen Holm. I'm from I'm the president of a nonprofit called For a Better Education. How you doing? Maybe what Sarah pointed out tonight has something to do with my question today, because she mentioned large ESC combination ESOL classes. My question for you to consider is our district reducing the exceptional student education funding for ESC teacher consultation services? Question mark. If not, that's great, and we're good. We might want to talk about more services, but that would be great to hear if it's not the case. But I'm scared to think that the answer is yes, because I had a reliable source tell me that the funding to our high schools, for example, for the ESC consultation service is actually being reduced soon. For the benefit of everybody who's here, I'll explain that ESC consultation means the ESC teacher consults with the regular teacher on a regular basis for the ESC teachers that are, or for the kids, the ESC kids that are in their classes. The ESC teacher attends those students' IEP meetings, closely follows each child's progress. These duties are in addition to, Sarah could say, to teaching their own classes and also attending those students' meetings and following the progress of their own students as well. If the funding is decreased as much as I've heard that it's decreasing, that would mean that a caseload of about 25 consultation kids per ESC teacher would be doubled. That's really concerning. I would be very concerned if that's the case, as it would be impossible to have enough time in their schedule to attend to the needs of all ESC kids. How do I know this? Because teachers tell me that they are currently stretched too thin already. They cannot appropriately attend to our students' needs. I've seen our county over the last 10 years. I've seen a lot of things whittle away. I've seen guidance counselors, like was mentioned earlier tonight. That gets whittled away. I've seen paraprofessionals be whittled away, and the ESC teacher's time in the regular classroom gets whittled away. I'm going to guess that the people that are going to speak tonight on school safety are going to touch upon mental health and the well-being of our kids. The very last place we want to take from our kids is from the ESC kids when it comes to mental health and well-being. We don't want to reduce the funding to their programming. My second question is about speech and language pathology. Now I have to think. I have found out that the caseload of a speech and language pathologist at a local elementary school that I know of has doubled. Has there been a reduction in the SLP funding to our kids? And so, question mark on that one. I would have further questions if these things are true. If they're not, oops. And so I'll wrap up. Could you give me, please, somebody that could clarify the funding that's going directly to our schools for our ESC kids?
Thank you very much.
Please.
So, next three speakers: Barbara Grossman, Rachel Frischberg, Angela Reynolds. Mrs. Grossman. Mrs. Fishberg. Mrs. Reynolds.
I'm here. Good evening, board members. In May of last year, the board was presented with a dyslexia plan. I am a mother with 2 dyslexic children. Dyslexia is a neurobiological disability that impacts a person's ability to decode unknown words. These programs must be taught, programs for this to remediate must be taught at least as often or for the amount of time the reading program manual requires. Like a medicine, if you do not give all the medicine in the time frame required on the bottle, you most likely will not get better. I would like to share with you my experience how the dyslexia plan has impacted my daughter Chloe, who is in the 10th grade, as well as our point of view as to why the dyslexia plan has not and will not reach dyslexia students with the fidelity and the results we all hope to achieve. My daughter's IEP has yet to be compliant with the new statute law regarding the identification and services legally mandated on a state level. More specifically, my daughter has yet to be provided with the explicit, spiraling, systematic, and multisensory program with fidelity, or have these words added to her IEP. My daughter was receiving 1 hour a week of the Wilson Intensive Reading System in 9th grade, when the program has to be provided with 3 to 5 days of a week per the manual to reach fidelity. At the beginning of her sophomore year, the ESE curriculum specialist was included as a participant at Chloe's IEP meeting and replaced her Wilson instruction with the program Explode the Clode. This program manual states it is struggling for a struggling reader for up to 4th grade. It was inappropriate. It was expressed to me that because Chloe received a 3 on her FSA and was on grade level with her classes, the district was no longer obligated to remediate Chloe's dyslexia. This statement disregards the multiple normed reference educational evaluations showing she was below grade level with phonological awareness, decoding skills, phonological memory, reading accuracy, and academic fluency. All these scores are well below average and in the 18th percentile. Chloe scored in the 4th percentile in spelling. The specialist response is, most kids can't spell. We have spell check as the accommodation. Palm Beach County school system is required to address and provide instruction, and the disabled students have students' unique needs, and these have not been met. I've run out of time. I apologize.
Okay. Thank you. If you want to, Dr. Vosa said you can send some more information in writing. We'll take a look at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oliver Reynolds, Lorraine.
That's my
Lawal.
son. He's not going to be able to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lorraine Lawal, Marnie Thomas, Natalie Jimenez.
Good evening, Superintendent, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I am L.S. Lawal, a.k.a. Grandma. I am here to request a private board meeting or hearing for Strike, a 501c3 organization that services primarily music, and it also serves a large multicultural group of young people between the ages of 12 and 22. Strike serves youth in a multiplicity of capacities, including developing leadership, character, vision, academic skills, teamwork, dedication, tenacity, dynamic work ethics, and a myriad of additional life-enhancing skills. If granted, audience, Strike will tender a package of explanatory details explaining in detail what it does and has done for Palm Beach County's youth. It has been a registered 501c3 for over 16 years and worked out of Palm Beach County, 13 of those years, in conjunction with and through several of our schools. Strike espouses and supports a student-first philosophy, youth development, transfer of training, and the belief that it does indeed take a village. It does indeed take a village to nurture and develop the potential of our youth. Therefore, community engagement is a vital component of Strike's ultimate visionary, achievable mission, objective, and statement. Finally, we request an opportunity to tender documentation that will attest to Strike's ability to qualify for a full waiver of fees under existing Palm Beach County school policy, as it did for over 10 years, as a vital aspect of this community operating in conjunction with and out of a high school in our community. And when I called in and asked for an appointment today, I did tell the lady who kindly wrote in my name that I'm a grandparent, I'm a grandmother, and I'm Strike's honorary grandmother. And when I was up in Ohio, and because we had been inadvertently let go from Palm Beach County because we are unable to pay an extensive amount of money, I stood up and said, yes, Palm Beach County. And the people around me told me to sit down because they announced another county for that outstanding organization. I'm requesting that you give us more time, more than 3 minutes, to present documented evidence to show that Strike needs to come back home to Palm Beach County and we develop our youth. I have some stuff here that the director lets me talk to the kids about in academia, and we are prepared to send information. And I signed myself as a member of Academic Achievement Committee, Health and Wellness Committee, Uniform Committee, and Grandma in Residence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Thomas.
Hi, my name is Marnie Thomas, and my son attends Waters Edge Elementary. First, I'd like to say that my son, my husband, and myself absolutely love Waters Edge. The faculty is incredible in every way, and there couldn't be a better principal than Mr. David Au. In thinking of last week's horrific tragedy, I'm simply here as a concerned parent. I want to tell you, my concern existed long before last week's incident, but I try not to live my life in fear. In a country with lax gun laws and riddled with mental illness, it's obvious our schools need much better security. Our children are beyond priceless, and they are completely vulnerable, as is anyone when it comes to flying bullets. Teaching our children safety protocol is great, but it's nowhere near enough. I would like to see police officers stationed on each school campus, and if not police officers, then let it be armed security guards. We also need monitored cameras in every area, bulletproof doors and windows, much higher fences, tall concrete walls around playgrounds, and a strict visitor entry protocol. We should take notes from Southwestern High School in Indiana. They really value their children, and it shows. I implore you, please do not put a price on our children's safety. Please do whatever it takes to keep them from harm. Thank you for listening. I hope my words mean something.
Thank you very much. Natalie Jimenez, Lisa Eisenberg, Julia Eisenberg. Natalie Jimenez, Lisa Eisenberg, Julia Eisenberg.
This is scary a little bit. Sorry. Hi, my name is Lisa Eisenberg, and I'm a parent, a mother whose children attend Olympic Heights High School in Boca Raton. I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you so much to the board for listening tonight, and I wanted to express my opinion on school safety as a parent and a concerned citizen. Before last week's unspeakable tragedy, to be honest with you, I had not been concerned about safety in our schools. Maybe because we live in a little bit of a bubble. It just never occurred to me that something like this could happen in our own backyard. I happened to have been at the school that morning, at Olympic Heights that morning, and I have to say that I walked onto campus. I was not ID'd. I was not stopped. I walked right into campus, and had I had a gun and a desire to hurt someone, I could have. Unfortunately, as adults, I feel that we collectively have let our children down. They are looking at us for answers and for action. I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Barbieri, who is beyond dedicated to our district, on Monday at an organized meeting that was run by these two girls and their friends, in which they gathered to write 535 letters for change to Congress. And I know that he and all of you are on our side as parents and as also concerned citizens in trying to find ways to make our schools safer for our most treasured commodities, which are our children and our educators. I know this issue has also been addressed prior to this shooting, and that nothing has been done to change the safety in our schools. I'm asking you, what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for something to happen? We're not allowed to bring water bottles on airplanes, yet guns are getting into our schools. We need metal detectors, just as they have at airports, concerts, and courthouses. We need a single point of entry for every high school, especially Olympic Heights. It is exposed. Anyone can just walk in to our outdated campus. Mr. Barbieri had mentioned there were talks of trying to get armed guards, but I don't really know what two armed guards are going to do against a semi-automatic rifle if, God forbid, it entered the school. I just feel we owe it to our kids to protect them, and you're going to hear from these two young ladies tonight some of the concerns that they have as well, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Carly Turco, and I'm a senior at Olympic Heights and student government president there.
I am Julia Eisenberg, and I am a senior at Olympic Heights and the president of the theater department.
We may be leaving this year, but we have younger siblings and friends in public school, and we want them to feel safe and protected in school. We are here to represent our student body and give the students a voice to share what we need from you, the school board.
We are asking for the following. 1, mandatory code red drills, especially during unexpected times such as during lunch or when classes are changing, so students and teachers are prepared. In our 4 years at Olympic Heights, we have never had one.
2, we feel it's necessary for our administration to work with student liaisons. Unfortunately, most times the administration does not listen or care about our concerns. We need the board to mandate a student task force that can work hand in hand with the administration to quell students' fears and help implement change.
We would like to report the content of these meetings back to the school board so that we know that our concerns and voices are being addressed.
Most importantly, we need action, and we need it now. We want to go back to our school tomorrow and tell our classmates that something is going to happen. We want to reassure the students that change is important, or change is imminent.
Right now, at school, students are on edge. We hear a knock on the door or someone drops a book and everyone jumps.
The goal is to create a comfortable environment where our students and faculty feel safe to learn and thrive. We feel confident that if we all put our heads together, we can make this happen, but we need to do it now.
We are placing our trust in you, our elected board officials, to address our concerns immediately and let us get back to learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gina King, Amy Lundy, Susie Hill.
Good evening, Dr. Avosa, school board members. Before I begin, let me say that I know everyone in the room is proud of our kids tonight.
And can you give us your name, please?
I'm Gina King, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Our students have started a powerful movement. They are demanding that legislators take action to make Stoneman Douglas the last shooting. So I'm here tonight to ask what we, their caretakers, are doing, not saying, to help them achieve their goals. I realize that gun control legislation will not solve all our problems. People have valid concerns, what we can do to identify lonely, disconnected kids before they turn to violence. And yes, there are already lots of guns available on the streets, but we have to start somewhere. I know that teachers, administrators, and parents all come from different political backgrounds, and many are gun owners and NRA members concerned about losing their rights. But we are fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers first. And we all agree that our children must be safe at school. Statistics show that most Americans, Republicans, Democrats, NRA members, gun owners, support common sense gun control. And most gun owners would agree that if a child is too young, too irresponsible, too impulsive to buy a bear, they're too young, too impulsive, and too irresponsible to buy an assault weapon. Most of us agree that we should strengthen and expand mental health background checks. And people are optimistic right now that this massacre could lead to compromises on gun safety because the students themselves are leading the way. Dr. Avosa, it would make a powerful statement if you could lead us in supporting these students who are demanding legislative changes. We should not be afraid to handle this hot topic, this gun topic. The violence is occurring in our schools, and this is our problem. And we have the numbers, so we do have the power. And most importantly, we cannot let our students fight for their lives alone. So what can we do? I suggest we use the voting power of this school district, combined with other school districts in our state, to show politicians that we put the safety of our students first. I think the district should take action to ensure that we have the largest voter turnout in school district history to vote. Teachers teach children every day that one person can make a difference, but I don't think we believe that ourselves. Many of us have stopped voting because we believe our one vote won't make a difference. So I'm appealing to you all tonight to lead us to find our voice and to make that collective voice be heard all across America. If we come together as one, we could be as powerful as the NRA. Let's put politicians on notice that we speak with one voice and one vote. What else can we do? Is there some way we can give teachers an option through payroll deductions to donate to a pro-student gun safety group? Can we organize fundraising so that parents and local businesses can donate to school safety? Can we develop a system to monitor the social media accounts of our students in order to identify students who need our attention and guidance? Most importantly, do our students know that we support them, not by what we say, but by what we do? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Amy Lundy, and I'm a local business owner, and more importantly, I'm a mother. I'm here to discuss school safety and how I can help, and how the school board can act now. I'm a South Floridian. I was born in Hollywood. I grew up in Cooper City, and now I live in Boca, Parkland's neighbor to the north. What happened last week could have happened anywhere, but it happened here, in essentially our backyard. We work hard to live in some of the safest communities. We pay taxes, and we support our public schools, and still we worry every single day for our children. I'm a mother of three. My oldest attends Murakami Park Elementary School. She's in the first grade, and last week at the age of 7, I told her about what happened at Douglas because it was all over the news. I gave her a plan should a crisis happen in her school. Run as fast as you can and get to a safe place. And do you know what she said to me? She said, I don't want to run so fast that I have to push someone and hurt them. I teach my children that kindness is the most important thing, so I wasn't surprised that she asked this. I teared up and I said, help anyone who falls get up and then take them with you. She's 7. I have to prepare her to mitigate the risk of her being a victim. We all have to. This is the world in which we're raising our children. Prevention. We must do more. I absolutely will not accept that we don't do more as a county, even before we get to the state and national levels. We owe it to our children and their children and to our educators. We have armed guards in jewelry stores. We have metal detectors at concerts, but we aren't protecting our greatest treasures in the world, our children. I'm here to tell you that I will do anything to save our schools, our children, our teachers, and our community. And it starts with prevention by putting our hearts, our heads, our hands, and ultimately our dollars together. I not only believe we can institute new affordable safety measures, but I will personally organize a fundraising committee dedicated to safety and research the cost and logistics of the initiatives outlined below. Locks in all entrances at the schools, locks for all classroom doors, security cameras around schools, badges on cars to get in the schools, locked parking lot gates during school hours, metal detectors at every entrance, increased security in the front office, police presence during drop-off and pickup hours, armed guards during school hours, and parent volunteers during school hours in the hallways. And I'll go a step further. I brought my wallet because I'll put my money where my mouth is. I will not let funding be the reason that our children are at risk. If significant funding is required, I'll contribute, and I know other parents around me will too. And what about that penny tax that we all agreed on? Let's use that. We can't talk about change. We have to be the change. If not now, when? If not here, where? Let Palm Beach County set the example, set the standard, make history, and save lives. We have to take the lead, take action, and show what enough is enough means. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grace Medlock, Jennifer Uttenreither, Dylan Uttenreither. Erica Corso.
Guess I'm alone up here. No.
Okay. Go ahead, Mrs. Medlock.
Thank you. Thank you, Boyd, Dr. Avosa. My name is Grace Medlock. I'm here as a grandparent. I have a 6-year-old grandson and an 8-year-old granddaughter. They attend school in Boca Raton at a charter school. And I'd like to just talk a little bit about how this event has affected them emotionally. We've talked about the eloquence of the students at Douglas High School. Their messages reverberating around the world. People are hearing them. They're amazing kids. But the little ones, we haven't really talked too much about them. They were, last Wednesday after school, they were dismissed to go to religious instruction, and they learned about this event from the priest in the chapel. They didn't understand what he was talking about because why was he saying that something terrible happened and there are people who, we have to pray for the families of these victims. They went home and they had all these questions. One of the questions from my grandson was, why does God make bad people? How do, these are questions that we're trying very hard to answer. I know the teachers are working very hard to answer these questions, but we're dealing with the sleeplessness, the nightmares. It's consistent. My husband and I had the children for one night to give the parents some sleep and to try to divert them with activities, with painting, with movies appropriate for them, and even a school project. But it always came back to the subject. Why did this happen? Why are these guns in the school? And they kept talking, going back to Code Red. Now, I was surprised to hear that Olympic High School doesn't have that Code Red exercise. The children in this elementary school
I'm sorry,
do.
we typically don't respond. We do have Code Red. The context in which that young lady was talking about was in class changes. We do that at every school. She was referring to between classes. I just want to make that clear.
Great.
All right. Please, no comments from the audience. Go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Well, my grandson would like to know, and this is for you, Matthew, the Code Red maybe has to be explained to the children in I don't know how do we do this? How do we do this? He is traumatized by it. He wants to make it less scary. Now, I don't know what to say as far as that goes, but I just want to get across the emotional effects, how it's hitting the little ones. Maybe, I just wanted to say maybe some of the activities, drawing, painting, writing letters, little play acting that they can do, anything so they can get these feelings out. I know the teachers are working very hard.
Okay,
Thank you.
Just one quick comment. Since those children go to a charter school, there's an independent governing board
I understand
that runs
that.
the charter school. So my suggestion is the thoughts you shared with us tonight, please share them with the governing
I
board.
will, and this
Okay.
applies to all our children,
Okay.
and they are all our children.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Superintendent Arvosa and board members. My name is Jennifer, and I have 2 children that go to Palm Beach County Schools. My oldest, who is sitting next to me, is in 6th grade, and my youngest son is in 4th grade. I'm speaking today because I feel that there needs to be more security at the schools. Presence of police needs to be amped up and needs to stay that way. Each school should have more than 1 police patrolling the grounds moving forward. Every school should have classroom doors that automatically lock. Some do and some don't. It is the teacher's responsibility to lock the classroom door if it doesn't automatically lock. Every school should have a camera at the front door. Some do and some don't. Every parent should have to announce their name, their child's name, and the reason why they are at that school. The schools should have every parent's license, ID card, passport with their picture on it, and these should be scanned into a database at the school. This way, if a parent comes to the school and they announce who they are, who their child is, and the reason they are there, the office personnel can see the parent through the camera and check the database to see their picture and let the parent in. I actually picked my son up today early from school. There is a school camera, and they buzzed me in at the front door. They did not ask who I was, they did not ask who I was picking up, and they did not ask the reason why I was there. Lastly, there's an app that teachers and staff can download to their mobile phone. In the event of an emergency or active shooting, the teacher or staff presses the panic button provided in the app. An alert is immediately sent to everyone in the school that has the app and sent to all federal, state, and local law enforcement officers on duty and off duty. When the alert shows up to the authorities, it will show the address where the alert is coming from, a map of the property, and will alert other schools in the area. There is a cost for this service, as there will be costs for all the improvements in security. I know that the PTAs in some of these schools raise thousands and thousands of dollars for their school. Some of this money that is raised could go towards improving security in our schools. As a mother and a taxpayer, I would be willing to pay higher taxes for our children's safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Dylan, and I am in 6th grade at Don Estridge Middle School. Middle school and high school students have ID badges that they wear around their necks, but elementary school students don't. All students from elementary schools through high school should wear ID badges. The badges should be activated, and students should have to swipe their badges in order to get into the school. If a student is suspended, their card should be deactivated until they return to school. If a student is expelled, their ID badge should be deactivated and taken away from that student. When students graduate 5th grade, 8th grade, and 12th grade, the students need to turn in their badges and they need to be deactivated. I would like to spend my remaining minutes honoring the people who have lost their lives. Alyssa Alada, 14. Scott Beagle, 35. Martin DeQ, 14. Nicholas Dworet, 17. Aaron Faze, 37. Jamie Guttenberg, 14. Chris Hickson, 49. Luke Hoyer, 15. Carol Lauren, 14. Gianna Montalto, 14. Jaquin Oliver, 17. Elena Petty, 14. Meadow Polak, 18. And Helena Ramsey, 17. Alex Schachter, 14. Carmen Shentrup, 16. And Peter Wang, 15. The kid who risked his life to save other lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Dylan, if I can, we give you credit for speaking in front of the board. We know that's a larger group, and you did a great job, sir. Thank you. Erica Corso, Edwin Ferguson, Karen Lampert.
Because the other people are not here?
Sure. Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you. Shall I wait for them or start?
Go ahead and start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And your name, please.
Yes. Hi, my name is Karen Lampert, and I'm a mother of 4 children. English is not my first language, so you have to excuse me if I make some mistakes. My children, just like I'm sure every mother and father, of course, will understand, mean the world to me. I'm still very affected by this whole situation. My daughter, Sienna, is in high school at Atlantic High, and ever since the incident, she has bad gastritis. Personally, I'm still very sad and angry, and like most, especially moms, I think. I would like to see changes. I think it's the time. We have to be the change. We have to do this for our children. We have to be there for them. We need 1-point entry. We need ID badges for them that they have to wear at all times. And when they get suspended, they have to turn in the badges. We need armed permanent police officers and not just a security guard. 2 would be great. And we need appropriate fences. I know this all costs money, but look at our precious children. I mean, the children are our future. We need to protect them, and we need to do and whatever it takes for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sienna Lampert, and I am a 9th grader at Atlantic Community High School. I believe that at school I should be there to learn and have fun with my friends. I shouldn't be scared to the point of thinking where to hide if someone dangerous gets in my school. I think that in order to make schools safer, we should have more police on campus. We should all be required to have IDs that are around our necks at all time and should have daily checks on if we have it, and if we don't, we should get sent to the principal's office, if not sent home. The only things I should be worrying about right now as a 14-year-old is, when will my favorite TV show come back out, or what should I wear to prom? Now is the time to listen. It's the time to stand with all teens who are put at risk every single day just by going to school. As my mother previously just said, I did get gastritis issues from the stress and anxiety that this issue has caused me, and obviously I'm 14. I shouldn't be having to worry about all this. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you all have an amazing evening.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Jada Lampert. I am a 5th grader, and I'm a safety patrol. And as a patrol, I keep kids safe, but they're not safe enough. With all these gun shootings, none of us are safe. I don't feel as safe as I did in school before. This should stop. You know it's bad when the school has to do more and more drills for shootings because there are scared kids. We do more and more, we need this to stop because a school is supposed to be a safe zone for kids, and I don't feel as safe as I used to feel. I would like this to stop and be over so we could all be safe and be able to not worry about these things. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And girls, to both of you, the same comments I made to the last young person, so good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Eris Carmel, Marisa Livingston, Corey Indy.
Good evening, Honorable Superintendent and board members. My name is Eris Carmel, and I live in Jupiter. I come here to speak with you as a concerned parent of 2 students attending Independence Middle and Lighthouse Elementary in District 1. In the wake of the horrible Sandy Hook tragedy in 2012, I lived in New Jersey at the time and established a parent task force that lobbied for increased security at the West Windsor Plainsboro School District, which resulted in installing security guards in each of the 10 district schools. These security guards are present in the school full-time during school hours and whenever children are present at school. They act as a deterrent and screen all visitors. Following last week's tragic school shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, I feel that we no longer can afford to maintain the status quo regarding school security. The following are the security measures I propose. 1, armed school resource officer at every school, off-duty or retired police officer. 2, all schools should have a guarded single point of entry for students, teachers, and visitors, except for pickup and drop-off times. School doors should be locked immediately following entry of students. 3, all visitors must sign in and show ID to the security resource officer. 4, minimize students' waiting time outside the school building at drop-off and pickup times. Increase police presence during arrival-departure times. 5, police department to retrain the office staff regarding visitor management procedures. Establish clear entry for visitors, parents, and vendors. 6, install silent panic alert buttons, alerting police of an intruder similar to the panic buttons found in a bank. 7, install metal bars and deadbolts on all classroom doors in case of lockdown to prevent easy break-in of classroom doors. 8, make school classrooms safe rooms, bullet resistant, so student and staff have a safe place to hide in an active shooter situation. 9, security cameras and motion sensing equipment that cover a larger area other than just directly in front of the intercom. Video coverage and surveillance of the parking lot and school courtyard. And 10, increase police presence in all district schools, not only during pickup and drop-off times. In conclusion, I hope you'll give me one more minute. The above security measures I suggested are all helpful, but the most critical and urgent measure is item number 1, the placement of armed school resource officers at each school.
Okay, if you'll wrap up, because we have a lot of speakers. So
having
you got
armed
5
guards,
more seconds. So
having
wrap it
our
up.
armed guards at the school is the most effective way to keep our students and staff safer, so that the only thing that our school district will be known for going forward is our academically superb schools.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marisa Livingston. I have a first grader at Murakami, and already I'm emotional, a 4-year-old. I'm here not just for them, but for every student and staff member. Excuse me, this boy reading the names that got to me, I'm sorry. I lived in New York City on September 11th. The fear, pain, and panic after last week's mass shooting, as well as every other mass shooting, is reminiscent of the fear, pain, and panic that we all felt after that day. But from that tragedy, along with others, came change and action. Action in the form of police presence and military personnel, armed guards, metal detectors, baggage searches, surveillance, and watch lists. Airports, courthouses, concert venues are now on high alert. Why not our schools? It saddens me beyond words to compare mass shootings to terrorist attacks, but frankly, I don't see the difference. The result is the same: pain, fear, panic, and death. And this is now what our children are faced with when they go to school. Parents and students are now demanding action, and it's not enough to simply pray that this will never happen. The 2 secretaries at my son's elementary school should not be the only form of security there. If his school even had security like this building, for example, maybe I'd sleep a little bit better at night. A school in Shelbyville, Indiana is considered the safest school in America. Student lockdown drills include hiding behind the red tape where they can't be seen, learning how to barricade themselves with furniture. Classrooms have bullet-resistant doors. Cameras are located throughout the school with a live feed going to not only school officials, but directly to the sheriff's department. Teachers have panic buttons on them that they wear and on the walls of their classrooms, and exploding smoke cannons are hidden in the ceilings and can be deployed by officers in an instant if faced with an active shooter. It sounds crazy, but this is now our world, and surely we can learn something from this school. With so many schools in the district, I understand that implementing a lot of these security measures will be difficult. And in that case, I implore you to give the students, the schools, some autonomy in putting these plans into effect. School communities are eager to help, whether it be financially or in any other way. My job as a mother is to keep my children safe, but for 6 hours of the day, that has become your job. Their safety is now in your hands, so please consult with police departments, counterterrorism officials, security experts to keep our children safe. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Corey Endy, and I have 4 kids who go to Murakami Park, 2 of them, and 2 of them will be going to kindergarten there, hopefully, next year as well. This is not something that I'm talking to you in any political way. This is just about the safety of our children. We are terrified every day when I drop my children off at school. I'm asking you to give approval to work with other school parents, the PTA, faculty members to provide additional safety precautions at our school, Murakami Park, through fundraising and through our own funds. We're looking, as a lot of people before me said, to have armed guards there. I understand from some of the research that it's about $58,000 a year to hire someone to stand there, a veteran, a police officer. There's 822 kids at Murakami Park. If each child, their family was to donate $71, we can pay from our own pockets and our own fundraising to have somebody there watching and protecting our children. I also think it's important for metal detectors, as people have said before me, inside office door buzzers or key cards. There's only a buzzer to get into the school, to get into the office. Once you're in the office, you can get to a hallway, you can get to a classroom. Also bulletproof glass wraps, and more importantly, my children and all the students of Murakami sit outside when it's time for carpool. To me, that's almost a sitting duck situation where someone could just come up. God forbid anything like that happens. It's terrifying. All state, federal government buildings have similar safety precautions, metal detectors, armed guards there. I started a petition through change.org that focuses on these points and us as parents with the help from our school, the board possibly, and just of today, and this hasn't even been a week, I have 600 signatures, and I have the petition if any of you would like to see it. And I really just want to make sure that we can fundraise ourselves to get this to happen. And if you guys can approve that and help us to implement that, it would mean the world to us. There's nothing more important than the safety of our children.
Thank you very much. Elise Montgomery, Sandy Byer, Terry Hughes.
Do I go first? Okay. Good evening, board members. Thank you very much for this opportunity. What I'm going to say
your name,
here,
please.
I'm sorry, my name is Terry Hughes. What I'm going to say here tonight, I know will be very widely unpopular and probably make me a pariah among this group, because I'm going to talk about eliminating the advertisement of our schools being gun-free zones. I feel very strongly about this. I think it's very dangerous. Since at least the 1950s, all but 2 public mass shootings in America have taken place where general citizens are banned from carrying guns. In Europe, every mass public shooting occurred in a gun-free zone. We can't stop evil. We know our laws don't stop evil. We know evil has no shame, evil has no moral compass, and evil has no remorse. And when evil comes to harm our children, they have no respect for our laws. All they do is they'll spend a lot of time figuring out how to get around our laws. So while I respect our debates that are going on, stricter gun laws, background checks, and banning certain guns, unfortunately, in our schools will not stop evil. Criminals don't abide by our laws because our laws are meant to be deterrents for law-abiding citizens, such as the people in this room, and a moral society. So throughout our country, there are retired military and law enforcement citizens who want to step up on a voluntary basis and protect our children. Since the incident, thousands of teachers around the country have signed up for concealed carry permit classes. As we speak, sheriff departments around the state and the country are offering free firearm training to teachers. We're responsible adults. We can no longer allow the nameless, faceless federal and state government politicians and bureaucrats to dictate how we secure our schools and protect the lives of our children. I know that there's a bill in Tallahassee, SB 1236, called the School Safety, sponsored by Dennis Baxley of Ocala. This passage of this bill would allow school officials to allow trained armed volunteers like our teachers and, of course, our administrators to bring concealed carry weapons into our classroom. I urge you to please consider this and to support this bill. I'll end with this. I asked my 15-year-old daughter, who goes to Dreyfus here in Palm Beach County, if she would rather be in a classroom with her dad, who is a licensed concealed carry permit holder, or an unarmed adult. She wouldn't look at me, but she just said, Dad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Superintendent Avasa and members of the school board, good evening. My name is Elise Montgomery, and I have 2 children in Palm Beach County attending your schools. Superintendent Avasa, this morning on your LinkedIn feed, you posted that 15-year-olds need to have an adult in the car for a year before driving alone, and you thought the law should be at least the same for a gun. And while I couldn't agree with you more, that is not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I'm here to beg you to look for a more immediate remedy and one with more immediate results, and most importantly, one that you, Mr. Avasa, can control. Until we change our government officials, gun control will not be looked at, and in fact was voted down in Florida legislature yesterday. You all are so very lucky because there is so much that you can do to change. So here is my ask for today. My proposal would include the following: mandatory code red training in the schools so children and teachers feel more prepared, single point entry into schools with armed police officers at gate and total compound surrounded by fence, ID badges, if a child is seen without it, sent to the office, required to get new badge immediately, emergency necklaces to be worn by all teachers and administration. One push of a button alerts all officers on site and local police that there is an emergency. Finally, and most importantly, if I were to ask for only one thing this evening, it would be armed police officers, like the one standing just outside guarding this very room, or mentally stable veterans in schools as determined by square footage and or student population. One police officer at a high school is just not enough. A roving police officer is not enough. We need more, a lot more. If all the other safety measures fail, the only thing that has a chance against a gunman is a trained, armed police officer. Please, these are our children, our babies. We can't afford to lose one more life. I know you feel the same. You have my pledge that I will personally work with any of you to do what it takes to get the funding necessary for my proposal. Schools are not a place for guns, but until our state and our country gets control of the gun crisis, we must take immediate massive action to ensure the safety of our children and your staff. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Sandy Byer. I'm going to go a little off script. I agree with most of what everyone is saying here this evening. As far as fundraising goes, I think there's been a lot of talk about what can we do for that. There's a lot of able and willing bodies for that. And everything about making the schools secure, I also agree with. So I think I'm going to talk about, just briefly, about something else. Just for a little background, I have 2 children actually in preschool, and I haven't even sent them to elementary school yet, but one will be going next year to kindergarten, to Whispering Pines. So I'm also, my background is in elementary education. I myself have been threatened previously, not in Florida. I didn't teach in Florida, but I myself have been threatened in the classroom. I've had students threatened in the classroom. I've run
soft drills, hard drills. I've done all of those things. One of the things I think that needs to be brought up tonight is that teachers don't have, and administration don't really have a resource for pattern behavior, children who might be emotionally disturbed, children that have other issues. One of my experiences was a child threatened to kill myself and other students in the classroom, and he was sitting back in the same seat 2 days later. The principal didn't really have anywhere to go with it. The district never did anything about it. So I think we need to start exploring the same way we can send a student to detention for a much lesser offense. I think we need to start exploring a possibility for teachers and staff and administrators to start having the ability to send students for some mental health checks within the school, not with a guidance counselor, not with another administrator, but with a licensed, experienced psychologist. I think this is more of a long-term solution, but I think it also could get to the root of some of the problem. No one expects perfection. We're just going to do the best we can. But I think this is a major, major variable in what's happening today. And if we can empower some of the people that are boots on the ground, then perhaps we can have a better insight as to what's going on and to have better prevention. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Renee Bellinson, Ellen Baker, Heather Moss.
Good evening, Dr. Avosa and board members. My name is Heather Moss, and my two sons are part of the public Palm Beach County school system. My older son is a freshman at Olympic Heights High School in Boca, and I'm here to address a critical infrastructure vulnerability of that school. My son's schools, like so many others, are enacting additional security measures and protocols as quickly as they can, some as straightforward as keeping classroom doors locked and validating visitors' IDs. But certain critical security measures, particularly those related to infrastructure, are dependent on district approvals and funds before they can be implemented. I'm asking the district to stop discussing this issue as it relates to Olympic Heights and to begin taking action on the following. Olympic Heights needs a single point of entry at its perimeter gate. We have heard parent time and time again this evening talk about how important a single point of entry is. Olympic Heights is a vast and open campus, which increases the vulnerability of its students in so many respects. By creating a cut-through from the parking lot to the bus loop area, all entrances other than the middle could be closed off. This would allow the school to keep all but the main gate locked throughout the school day. Olympic Heights, probably like other schools, was built before we had to worry about mass murderers taking place during the school day. Now that having a single point of entry is recognized as a critical means of maintaining security, there's no excuse for leaving Olympic Heights students vulnerable in this respect. Given the size and open structure of the Olympic Heights campus, adding security is needed to ensure adequate protection and coverage. This would also facilitate for students an additional layer of security of requiring students to show their ID cards upon entry to the school and somebody there who is qualified to check them. Unfortunately, today, guns are all too easy to obtain. I recently learned that a gun shop opened within the last year within 0.4 miles of Olympic Heights. A senior can make a decision to either walk 5 minutes to Dunkin' Donuts for an iced latte, or they can walk just a minute or two further and purchase a gun. A single point of entry and increased security is a must for Olympic Heights students. As parents, we can no longer tolerate critical safety changes being repeatedly delayed and caught up in red tape. It's not acceptable to say goodbye to our child in the morning and not feel confident that every step conceivable has been taken to protect them. There's no excuse for bureaucracy anymore, just like there's no excuse for just sending prayers and inaction. We are asking for the appropriate contact, department, person, group, whomever it happens to be, that we can work with to continue to move this demand forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barbieri?
As a point of information, Mrs. Moss advised me about that gun shop which recently opened. I checked with the county. Believe it or not, there is no zoning restriction. The school, that shopping center, the shopping center is absolutely adjacent to Olympic Heights High School. It's a new gun store that opened right next to the high school. So I'm amazed that the county would allow that to happen, but there's apparently no restrictions to allow gun stores to open up on our next door school campuses.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Renee Balanson. I am the mother of 3 children attending Sunrise Park Elementary School. Like many of the parents here, I have serious concern for my children's safety while they are at school. If you don't know already, we have the greatest principal around. I have faith in Mrs. Steiger and in her incredible staff to do what they can to keep my children safe, but I also know that their resources are limited. While I don't know what has already been discussed in your safety meetings, I am here to ask that special consideration is given to the children out in portables. My 3rd grader, Jack, is taught in a portable. He is outside, unprotected, 6 times a day, more than children in the main building, to and from carpool line, to and from lunch, to and from art, music, computer lab, etc. He told me he is scared that he will be stranded outside during a code red and have nowhere to turn. Mommy, where do I go to hide? I sold him some answer to make him feel better, but it was nothing I actually believe myself. It is my hope that you have the answers and that you are already considering upgrading security measures to help keep our portable children safe. As parents, we want your ideas. Tell us what we need to do, because I and a large portion of the Sunrise Park parent body would absolutely raise the dollars to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Ellen Baker, and I'm a special education teacher at Dwyer High School. Monday, I met, spoke with, and hugged some courageous survivors of the Douglas shooting. I think we all are so impressed with these students and their activism. One of their teachers pointed out how great they are, and then said something like, I guess teachers know what they're doing. I've never been prouder to be a teacher. My concern is that I am now being asked to be a security officer and a counselor. Most of us have been given a 45-minute hall duty where we are sitting ducks. Students tell us that there are guns on campus every day, a fact that our principal and, according to him, his colleagues acknowledge. Unlike our school resource officers, we don't have bulletproof vests or guns or radios or training. We're scared. We don't want to give up our planning time to perform this duty. We're scared. It's a violation of our contract. We are scared. Please send us more trained personnel, more canine visits, and metal detector wands to go along with the semi-single point entry we've waited for almost 5 years. We deserve to feel safe. When I called Carol to put my name in, I told her I may ramble. I haven't slept well for a week. Wednesday night, instead of sleeping, I tried to figure out where I could hide myself and my children, my students, in my classroom. A classroom without a closet or a bathroom, with a wall of windows and a door with a window that's only 25 feet from the front gate, and in an open hallway. A shooter doesn't even have to gain entry to shoot through my door and the classroom next to me. There's an open chain link fence between us and danger. Such a scary place to be, especially during the 2 blocks where I teach intellectually disabled students who may not be able to be quiet due to their cognitive levels. Recently, we discussed whether we'd be safer climbing out the escape window. But could we lift the 2 wheelchair-bound kids? These thoughts haunt me day and night. Then there's the mental health side of things. Before Wednesday's tragedy, a student that came to my class on January 8th from a charter school, he was asked to leave. As I greeted him at my door, he said, I feel like murdering people. I was a little taken aback. This transition that he's been asked to make after a 1.5 years at a charter school has been made more difficult by his emotional behavior disorder. I calmly spoke to him and reassured that I'd find him someone to talk to. Not so easy during lunch, but I texted the data counselor. We only have one data counselor on campus. There's 2,300 kids. Anyway, please help us.
Thank you. Aaron Haig, Maria Torres Lopez, Felina Cartwright Harding.
Hello, good evening. I'm Erin Blanchette Haig. I'm a graduate of Dreyfus School of the Arts, class of 2000. I am the daughter of 2 Palm Beach County school teachers, and I am the mother of 2 little girls, 3 and 4. My 4-year-old will start kindergarten in August. I'm also a captain for the Women's March Palm Beach County chapter. On behalf of Women's March National Youth, I would like to read the following. Women's March Youth Empower is calling for students, teachers, school administrators, parents, and allies to take part in a national school walkout for 17 minutes at 10 a.m. across every time zone on March 14th, 2018 to protest Congress's inaction to do more than tweet thoughts and prayers in response to the gun violence plaguing our schools and neighborhoods. We need action. Students and allies are organizing the National School Walkout to demand Congress pass legislation to keep us safe from gun violence at our schools, on our streets, and in our homes and places of worship. Students and staff have the right to teach and learn in an environment free from the worry of being gunned down in their classrooms or on their way home from school. Parents have the right to send their kids to school in the morning and see them home alive at the end of the day. We are not safe at school. We are not safe in our cities and towns. Congress must take meaningful action to keep us safe and pass federal gun reform legislation that address the public health crisis of gun violence. We want Congress to pay attention and take note. This Saturday, February 24th, the Women's March Florida Palm Beach County chapter, in collaboration with student organizers across the county, is hosting a community strategizing meeting for all students, parents, teachers, and school administrators who would like to organize a walkout at their school. The meeting will be held from 3 to 5 p.m. at Mothers Against Murderers Association, located at 1897 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, Suite 117, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33409. This is a student-led event, but we need all of our teachers and administrators and every single member of the board to be in attendance to provide support and guidance for our students who are about to walk out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Maria Torres. I'm one of the co-captains for the Women's March Palm Beach County. Some of the students wanted to be here tonight. They simply couldn't. They had homework, and they're very stressed out about this. So thank you, Dr. Avosa, for responding to Megan Bell's Twitter and for pledging your support for some of the walkouts. However, some of the administrators at different schools are having questions. They're not sure if they can do that or not. So if you truly support any of the walkouts and the march that they will be having on the 24th, we will need that support in writing if possible, and we are actually extending that invitation to all the members of the board. If you want to support any of the walkouts, we will need that in writing, and we will also need to understand what that entails. So that entails that the teachers are okay to be walking out with their students, and there will be nothing bad happening to them. So if you can email that to us, or you can just send that to their school. It's up to you guys. And also, we hope we will receive that in detail, especially for the students. They're very stressed out. I wanted to say also, our schools are not to become prisons. Yes, we do have to make some changes, but I think we have to be very careful on how we do those changes. It's important that we don't make them into prisons. And also, I think it's important, if we're going to talk about arming our schools, let's arm them with enough teachers, with enough psychologists, with enough social workers, and with help groups to help families in crisis. every county has families in crisis. We know this. So maybe they should be a standard procedure where the student can go not only to their social worker, but to a separate person that will work with their families, not only with them. I think the cameras is a good idea. The single point of entry is a good idea. All the schools I've been to actually do have a single point of entry, so it was surprising to me to hear that some schools do not have that. Let's remember also when we talk about bringing the police into the school, the many violent incidents that our students across the state and the country have suffered on the hands of those same officers that are supposed to be there to protect them. I think that's very, very important to say and to remember. And we're all scared and we're all upset, but there are certain procedures that we just simply cannot go through with it at the school property. And we have to remember those. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, board members. Chuck Shaw, Chairman, Ms. Robertson, Dr. Robertson. I wanted to speak to you tonight on a different note about the evaluation system that we currently have in place for this year, 2017-18. There are several different anomalies with the evaluation system that we have submitted in comparison to what we have currently right now on our district website as far as our JINC committee, what's been put out with the calendar and the information for the teachers. Page 3 on the actual evaluation system that was submitted to the state references that teachers assigned non-state-wide tested courses for the district will apply locally developed measures, including but not limited to statewide assessments, locally developed tests, other standardized assessments, SAT, ACT, AP, IB, ACE, etc., and the industry certifications. We did have a young lady that spoke at the special meetings about 120 of her students from Royal Palm had passed the industry certification test. But the confusion comes in, we have this stated in the state plan as well as the cohorts and the models, but yet it was not listed in the cohorts and the models for that teacher to be able to utilize her industry certification exams for her students. Yet what was used was the SAT exam. Page 4 states that the pretest teachers bracketed in cohorts based on the average prior performance of students, average FCAT reading scores, which should have been updated to the FSA reading levels. Page 6 displays a Category 1A scoring rubric that uses examples from 2015, which that should have been updated. It also states that the student's performance score for the mid-year evaluation period will be based on the teacher's assignments, and specific measure will be determined by the teacher and the school administrator at the beginning of the school year. I don't know if that is happening. Page 12 states that there are 4 categories for non-classroom teachers that utilize job-specific observation instruments. We're currently using the same instrument as the teachers, just changing the titles. For school counselors, media specialists, therapists, and psychologists. Page 14 provides teacher observation schedule, which states that 1A teachers are supposed to have a fall, one informal observation completed by the last instructional day of October and one formal observation completed by the last instructional day of December. Many schools did not have those observations completed for those teachers. For Category 1B, 2 are supposed to have their observations paced throughout the year and completed by the last instructional day of March. The information that's provided by the JINC committee is contradictory towards what actually we submitted for the state. A lot of administrators are under the impression that you don't have to have the evaluation completed until March and April. So please explain what pacing throughout the school year means. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Julie Picciano, Mira Kari, Roy Snyder.
Go ahead. Yeah. Good evening, board, Dr. Avasa, Mr. Shaw, and the rest of the school board. My name is Susan Snyder, and I was a assistant principal at Grove Park Elementary School for many years. And I would like to review a little bit of the history for the people that are new. We did have a school shooting in Palm Beach County in 2000. So it can, unfortunately, happen anywhere. And it also was my last day at Grove Park School. And I read an article in a newspaper from another teacher that had the same experience that I did. But Barry worked at Lake Worth Middle School, but his wife, Pam, went to Grove Park Elementary School as an elementary student. And the last day of school was always crazy, but it was even worse than we had ever imagined, because nothing like that had happened here in Palm Beach County. And so I came today to honor his memory, and I came today to say that you have had a lot of people addressing this board tonight with ideas, with suggestions, what have you. But I say, when I heard the news on the radio, on the TV, I went to pieces. I couldn't believe it, because that was what, 16, 18 years ago. But apparently it was staying in my head low down, really low down for a long time. And it just came out, and my husband back there, he couldn't get me to stop crying. It was that serious. So when you can think about those things, and you have to think in your mind that you might encounter an occasion like this where something happens and it's lying there and you haven't ever dealt with it and you didn't even know that you had it. But the school board, and one reason why I came is to see what you all were doing. I had complete confidence in you, and it was really special to be able to be a part of Palm Beach County school system.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Mr. Chuck Shaw, Vice Chair Dr. Robinson, board members, Dr. Bosa, community members, and staff members. My name is Julie Picciano from Forest Hill Community High School. I would like to discuss the security concerns that I have with Palm Beach Public Schools. I'm a high school teacher who experienced a loaded gun on campus. The student was arrested and charged as an adult. It was reported that this student was carrying a gun, because he feared for his own protection from other students. As of today, after my personal experience of a loaded gun, I would like to see a shooter drill put in place for all schools and to urgently be put into practice as soon as possible. The students in Broward County were prepared with practicing a shooter drill. Imagine if this shooter was my loaded gunman on my campus. I believe that we would have had more casualties, possibly more than Missouri Stoneman Douglas High. And that would be because of the lack of the shooter trainings here in Palm Beach County. I believe that emergency training drills are in need. Due to our current world trends with shooters, on Monday, the staff was instructed to not post the emergency codes in our classrooms and to not explain what the codes mean to the students. How am I to assure the safety to my students if I'm not permitted to explain the codes? How do you as a district plan to implement new safety plans of action? It appears that this is the new year with new beginnings. It is our opportunity as a community to consider how the budget is being used to benefit the students. The budget depends on the extra monies needed immediately for urgent safety measures that need to be implemented. Budget also needs to be addressed when allocating salaries for employees that are not in the classroom. As of today, teachers share their portion of the budget salary allocation with district employees that are not in the classroom, and is also shared with speech pathologists. The budget is the master board of our entire operations. It would be deeply appreciated if the board and its members would consider evaluating the budget in depth so that the losses and gains can be reevaluated. The budget analysis would allow for us as a community to reevaluate the accounting of monies and how it might be used towards the new evolving concerns of our community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Am I too loud? I'm sorry. Okay, my name is Mira, and I have two girls, and one goes to Palm Beach Central, another one goes to Emerald Cove. And I'm a SAC member in both the schools. The one thing, yesterday we had the SAC meeting at Palm Beach Central, and Mr. Edgecombe was asked about the buzzer in the front office. And the beginning of the meeting, I know you all talked about the things that happened at length. And I know Dr. Robbins, and you also talked about locking the door of the house. We all do that, right? But at Palm Beach Central, there is no buzzer. And I understand from Mr. Edgecombe that he has been requesting for the last 3 years, and it has not been approved yet. And I don't know the reason, but it would be nice if that would get approved. And I think that's the first security measure that we can do at every school. And I don't know why it's not a requirement at every school. So maybe I would ask the board to consider to make it as a requirement going forward to have it at all the schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol Goldenberg, Diane Hanfman, Edith Pride.
Hi, I'm Carol Goldenberg. I work at Dwyer High School. I want to double down on everything everybody else said, because all that stuff is needed for security and whatnot. So because we've talked about that tonight, I have some other concerns that I'd like to talk about. The testing, which one person did bring up. I teach biology. It's an EOC class. It's the only science class that's EOC. These kids have too much testing. I can't get done the material in time without cramming it down their throats. And we're not even addressing things that are current in science. And I don't have time to do it, like climate change or the opioid addiction and having an addiction unit on drugs and alcohol and cells. I have zero time. There's no chance I can address that in my class. And I have all level of students. That test is so unfair to the lower level kids. The paragraphs they have to read is insane. Those kids don't even try. They put their heads down and go to sleep. It's not fair to them. They don't even need it to graduate, and they know. At 30%, if they get a 30%, they pass. What is the point in that test? It makes no sense. And it just uses up class time. They're going to be taking all these other tests and missing my class, and I can't get all the material in that is supposed to be taught. So that to me is a big problem, and it's stressful on the kids. I have kids every year coming and crying to me that they fail these stupid tests. So anyway, I think that's terrible. So, and then as long as I have more time, I really would like you guys to think about bringing back in full force vocational schools. We have kids that they don't want to be in these schools. They have no desire to go to college, but they need something to do the day after they graduate. The kids that are going to college, they know what they're doing. All these other kids have nothing. We need vocational schools where they can be certified in things. We can have people on staff that help them find beginning jobs so that they have something to look forward to, so that they're proud of themselves and feel successful and don't feel like they're failures and aren't disrupting the classes with the other kids. It's a huge problem. And these kids are not benefiting from this. Not only is it a problem for the teachers, and it's not fair to the other kids that are subjected to their behavior problems, but it's not fair to them. We're not doing them justice. And if they go through these vocational schools and then they decide they get mature and they want to get serious, then either they can have a diploma that lets them in a junior college at lower levels, or they could make it a choice to be a fifth year in high school to complete for their regular diploma. So, okay, that kind of is everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Good evening. My name is Edith Freiberg. Dr. Vosa, take a breath and smile while I'm talking. Okay? Now, good evening, Dr. Vosa, board members. Mr. Barbieri, my area board member. Special shout out to Dr. Salzman, my regional superintendent. Jamie Wyatt, my elementary superintendent, both who I can call on whenever I want. A feel better wish to Miss Renee F., my principal, who is working even though she doesn't feel good. Dr. Vosa, I would like to commend you on the way you have reached out since the Stoneman-Douglas situation with words of comfort and calm to the teachers, students, and their communities. I know that it's every superintendent's nightmare what happened in Broward County, but these are these are some of my concerns. Number one, so everybody get a pencil, take notes, board members, because this is a good one. Every school should practice one evacuation drill a year. Why? Because I teach at Boca Raton Elementary, the oldest school in Palm Beach County, and it is right next to a railroad track. Okay. If there was a spill of any kind involving tanks on the train and now add bright lines to the tracks, anything could happen, and we may not know where to go or what to do. And other schools are built near train tracks as well. So let's be proactive. And the reason they're built by railroad tracks is because back in the day, they could get the equipment right off the train, build a school right there. So that's number one. Number two, all schools should have an alternative fire drill. My sister is a teacher in another state, and she told me about a school where she worked at, and they had these kinds of drills. When the teacher and their class headed towards an exit, without anyone's knowledge, a patrol would hold up a sign with flames. It meant that the fire was in that exit, and the teacher had to quickly reverse her plan and get her class out through another safe area. She said it was a fantastic idea, and they did that about 5 times a year. So since we have to have 10 fire drills a year, what a great idea. There is no way that we can be prepared for every problem or scenario that may arise, but these are 2 good ideas, and I wanted you to know how I felt. Lastly, Dr. Vosa, I wish you and the superintendent from Broward, Dave, and Dade County would get together and put our teachers and high school students on the yellow buses and drive to Tallahassee and march on the steps, 24 minutes, and the Capitol in unity. All 3 of the superintendents should make speeches, and we should lobby for change in the law. As a tri-county group, you have a vision, Dr. Vosa, and if any superintendent can pull this off, you can. Yes, you. And this board, all of you, we will be behind you. Be of good courage, because we will work with you. As much as I leave, as I'm always leave you with this thought, pay teachers what we have earned, because y'all can't pay us what we're worth, babies. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. You know, Mrs. Pride talked about the blocking off. When I was a principal, we blocked off different hallways and stuff and did a regular basis, and that is a good point. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn? We are done. Mrs. Brill.
Thank you, and sometimes you ask us for comments, and I realized as I was sitting here that we received an email from our general counsel regarding an evaluation that we're supposed to be doing at the next board meeting, and I don't know if we need board agreement about postponing it. I know I, for one, would like to focus on the superintendent search.
Okay. All right, without, you want to make that as a motion, we'll make it official.
I move that we,
Okay.
I
A
don't know
motion
if
by
we have a
Mrs.
date,
Brill,
but-
second by Mr. Barbieri. Any discussion? So what we're going to do is just move it so that we'll look at two things. So, Ms. Rico.
May I? Thank you very much. We're ready to launch, but you all have unforeseen time constraints, and so I'd be more than happy to give you all back your time over the next month when this was to be viewed. What I'd like to propose is I bring back an item through the chair in April, and we can discuss realigning the time frame and other things regarding the evaluation process. And if that's the board's pleasure, I would appreciate that.
All right, all in favor, all opposed, motion carries 7-0. Is there a motion to adjourn? Since people are already getting up, I think we just had it. We're adjourned. We stand adjourned. Thank you.